Hey guys, welcome to John's Week, a podcast made by me, John. First off, I just want to say welcome to the first episode of John's Week. I actually can't believe this is happening. I was really thinking, should I make a podcast or should I continue making videos on YouTube, like vlogging? Because that's what I used to do. I used to vlog a lot on YouTube, but that required for people to see my face. And I was like, let me cut the face out and let me see if I can make a podcast. And honestly, I don't know if this will keep going. I just want to see where this first episode takes me and if people actually like the idea of me doing an audio podcast. So I hope this will continue. I honestly will not neglect it, and we'll see where this goes. How I planned this podcast was that I would have 3 topics, and the first one is social time, which I talk about some social media stuff, then some me time, talking about my week, John's week. Kind of sad because I don't have a guest co-host or a guest star right now because I'm just starting off, so basically you'll all be hearing me for now. And lastly, the third topic would be music time, in which I talk about a song that I like and an album that I heard this week that was simply amazing. So let's move to our first topic, social time. Okay, first, Jolena. Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez, they're back together. Don't you think that's kind of crazy because they really went through like so much tough times. I mean, Selena even wrote songs about him. Justin wrote songs about her when they broke up and went back together and broke up, went back together. Like this goes all the way back to 2011. And that was such a long time ago. I mean, in 2011, I was maybe 7th or 8th grade when that was happening. And everyone loved them as a couple when they first started. They're like, oh, they're so cute. They're babies. They're like Disney babies. And what really struck me when they broke up and went back together was that during those times, like, stuff went really deep. Justin would go for days without seeing Selena, and same to Selena. And they would really, like, fight so much. Like, that's all in the background. Like, my sources, I mean, I could be wrong. Well, my sources were E! News and ENT Entertainment, like all of those, even YouTube, just like watching videos about them. It's so interesting how right now at this moment that they went through so much heartbreak and so many, Justin had like how many girlfriends and Selena had like The Weeknd. Now they're all broken up from them. They're coming back together, but they seem really friendly to each other, unlike before where Selena was really like, I hate you so much, or I'm not giving you another chance, and Justin was such a crybaby about it. I mean, no offense, but definitely a crybaby. Well, okay, fast forward to today, where I just saw a photo of them on Twitter where Justin was waiting outside Selena's house, and they went biking together and had coffee and had lunch and were just like walking with each other and went skateboarding. Like, isn't that a little like fishy, or do you actually believe they're in love? You know, for me personally, I believe that since they went through all of those heartbreak and all of those heartaches, that maybe, you know, they never really left each other. You know what I mean? Justin was Selena's first love, right? So, I mean, it was bound to like happen that they would be back together. But do you really think that they could like love each other again after all of those heartaches? Or do you think that maybe they're just back together because of some sort of celebrity thing where the fans want them to be back together? I mean, Beliebers go hard, I swear. I mean, Beliebers are really like so defensive that when Selena and Justin broke up, they started hating on her so much. And when Justin was in such a sad time, they started this trend called Cut for Bieber. I don't know if you guys remember. It was on Twitter like a few years back. It was crazy, where his fans would actually cut themselves to show sympathy for Bieber after Selena's breakup. Well, that was crazy, right? Then you see all Selena Gomez, and all she does is like write songs about Justin, which overall is pretty sad. Does anyone remember that song? The Heart Wants What It Wants? Okay, here's a sample because I don't want to get copyright, you know? The heart wants what it wants. You know that song? That was such a boring song. Just saying. Her release of that song was so obvious that it was about Justin, and it was 2014. I remember the time when that happened. She performed it at the AMAs, I believe, and then she was crying during the performance. I mean, that really hurts for her to sing that for him, and we all know the real reason why she wrote that song, and that song was for him. Because at that time, they were still going through, like, their breakup process. They didn't break up yet. They were just on and off. And Justin, you know, after they broke up, Justin had his whole album Purpose was basically, like, dedicated to her a little bit. Dedicated to her and his fans. So songs were like, What Do You Mean? Where Are You Now? Were all dedicated to Selena. And those were questions for her, like, what do you mean you want to break up? And that's what most singers and songwriters do. They talk about their feelings in songs, and they talk about other people that they were close to. So what do I think about the whole situation? They look like they're really enjoying their company. I feel like it's gonna happen. I mean, sources are saying, like, E-News are saying, like, oh, they're just hanging out as old friends. It wasn't staged or anything. And I'm honestly pretty happy for both parties because they do look so happy together. They're really enjoying each other's company, especially after their breakups. They will legit come back together as a couple, as a power couple. And after all of those heartbreaks, they'll come back. They started off really rough. And after a few years, they've sobered up with their acts. Like, Justin sobered up for sure. Like, they sobered up, they've matured, and they've literally grown together. So that's basically what I think. And that's enough for Social Time, of course. Okay, speaking of Social Time, me time. Throwback to middle school, guys, because I remember in middle school, it was such an awkward phase of my life. I think it was an awkward phase of other people's lives. Does anyone remember if you were in middle school between 2011 to 2013 or 14? Remember hanging out in the hallways? Or does anyone remember, like, playing hacky sack or playing with pogs? It's basically like gambling. I don't know. I guess it was gambling. Maybe it wasn't allowed in school, but we just did it anyway. But middle school, those were great times. Fast forward to middle schoolers now. They're still awkward. I mean, of course, my brother and sister are actually in middle school. And what caught me was that my brother actually brought home a small little Ziploc and it said the word borax on it. Why do people carry borax? It's so weird. Well, he told me that his classmates are actually selling materials to make slime. And okay, so remember that slime fad? I think it's still going on. But one material they need to make the glue to activate to turn into slime is borax. So literally, he told me that he had a classmate selling borax by itself. People are selling glue. People are selling food coloring. People are selling contact lens solution because somehow that's one way to make the glue come together. Like, why are these middle schoolers selling these? I mean, especially borax, because when he brought it home, it looked like a drug. It looked like an inhalant because it was in such a small little bag. I was like, what are you doing? What is this? He's like, this is borax. I'm like, what the heck? Who sells just borax? Or basically, middle schoolers are actually kind of weird right now. Like, there's slime, and then you got this musically stuff going on. Like, I didn't have that. Like, where's your hacky sack? Where's your pogs? Like, why aren't you doing normal things? Well, to me, that was normal back then. But now they're selling slime materials, which is baffling because borax looks like an inhalant and something that you can sniff. You know what I mean? Like the C word. Cocaine. Basically, so I examined the package and I was like, this is so, okay, it looked like a teaspoon of borax put into a small Ziploc, and I wonder how much they're selling it. I never got to ask, but if they're selling it for like 25 cents, like that is way overpriced. Like I can go to Payless, which is a local store here on Guam, and see a huge box of borax for like $6.99, and that's like how many liter, or that's like a liter or something, I don't know, or how many grams. It's so big. It's like a big box. And they're selling a teaspoon for 25 cents or even 50 cents. That's what I'm imagining how much they sell it for. That's way too overpriced. Especially for freaking borax. I mean, might as well just sell the whole slime kit. But, okay, so at the same time, why are they selling in middle school? I mean, there are some people that I knew that sold in middle school, but you know what they sold? They sold like Pop-Tarts. They sold Go-Gurt. Like they would bring their own portable small cooler, like the one for the beer cans with the ice packs in them, and then just sell Go-Gurt like during lunch for like $1. And I mean, you can't do that, but you know, it's business. That's where business starts. Moving on from food to like material items like borax and slime. I mean, in middle school, true story, I used to sell in middle school, but guess what I sold? I sold drawings. And I was not a good artist. I sold, like, you know how people used to, like, bring binders? Like, people would have multiple binders for multiple classes, and they would always have a cover for the binder. Like, they would have their name written nicely, or even a drawing about the class or something. And what I did was I designed binder covers. And basically, I had this huge paper that had different sections of how I designed binder covers for other people, and then people would be like, oh, that's nice, how much is it? And I would charge them, like, 50 cents. $1 at most to like have their binder covers drawn by me. And it's ridiculous because that's way overpriced, but also at the same time, why am I doing that kind of business when I could have been selling food? But to be honest, everyone liked my binder covers. Like, it was a hit. People started buying it. I was 6th grade back then, and 8th graders were buying my binder covers. Like, that's when I knew business was booming. I don't know when it stopped. I probably only did it for like a week or something. Like, if that's what I could remember, but it was booming, and I don't know, I'm honestly very proud of that, but at the same time not. But what I am not proud of is middle schoolers now just selling slime materials. I mean, you guys might think it's like, oh, it's normal, but that's dangerous, to be honest. Like, glue is also an inhalant. Okay, well, these I learned when I was in middle school about inhalants and stuff, but I just find it crazy how they could sell those items even separately, or like, you know, with all these trends. I mean, I'm guessing also there are some kids in middle school that sell fidget spinners overpriced. And people also sell slime already made, like on those Instagram accounts, like how they make their own and then it's scented and everything. I think my sister actually bought one from her friend, and it was $4, and it was only like 4 ounces or something. That's like, you know, like a small cup of water, like, or half a glass of water. Like, that's how much slime there is. I'm like, I told my sister, like, you're basically buying glue. And she was like, I don't want to do the slime myself. I'm like, but why slime? Like, let's get to the general topic of slime, because first of all, maybe it could, I mean, like, it's oddly satisfying apparently to some people, but in my case, I just think that slime is like a science project. Like, okay, that's cool. But if that's the thing now, like, instead of playing tag during lunch, like, you'd just be sharing your slime. Like, that's kind of weird. Okay, but I guess this is the new thing. Slime, then you got your fidget spinners, then you got Musical.ly, and those are the top 3 things that the younger generation will know about and will, like, grow to love. Like, those fads. And speaking of fads, let's talk about music. And it's music time. Da-da-da-da, music time with John's Week. A song that I think was great this whole week, actually the whole month, just renames podcast to John's Month. But this whole month, I've been so obsessed with Havana by Camila Cabello. Let me just sing a snippet. Havana, ooh na na. Half of my heart is in Havana, ooh na na. Like, that song is amazing. The beat is amazing, and she has a ooh, like, I don't know, the background is amazing. Even Young Thug, I don't even know who Young Thug is. I think he's a rapper or something. The way that he rapped, it's like so nice. I don't even know. He sounds like Fetty Wap, which is, I mean, Fetty Wap's okay, but Camila Cabello though, like, after leaving Fifth Harmony, this is what you come up with, and it's amazing. It's like After Crying in the Club, her first single. Like, this is literally like my favorite song of 2017 so far. And I can't even, I mean, just if you haven't listened to it, listen to it. And if you have listened to it, you know how I feel about it. Like, you know how everyone feels about it. Like, it's such an amazing song. It's so, I'd say, like, modern and chill, and it has these Latin vibes. And this is just, I don't know, it's such a great song. The lyrics, I mean, like, the lyrics I don't really pay attention to. It's probably about a guy, but I sing it and it's like, I can, like, dance to it, I can move so much to it, and I could, like, listen to it in the car and drive forever while this song is playing, because it's such a great song. It sounds like a throwback track, even though it's pretty modern, and the video for it is simply amazing. Let me just describe it to you guys that haven't seen the video. The video, is like a cinematic type of video where she's watching a soap opera that she's in, and then she wakes up from a dream, and then she goes to a real movie theater, which also, she ends up watching a soap opera because she's not really the outgoing type of person. So the character in the movie that she's watching ends up not being with the guy. And Camilla is like sitting in the theater, is like, what? That's it? Camilla in the movie is like, yep, that's my story. Now go make your own. And I guess it was kind of cheesy to like have that stuff. But overall, Camilla is cheesy. Like, she's crazy too. So that's why she's not Fifth Harmony anymore. That's why no one likes her in Fifth Harmony. So T. So she goes out of the theaters and she just like, she walks and she starts dancing to Havana. And there's this guy riding on the bicycle and ends up bumping into her. And they just start dancing in the street. And that's how they click. And every one of her, like her abuela, like her, okay, well, I said abuela because like that's what she called her grandma in the music video was like, why don't you have a boyfriend, or why don't you mingle with other people? And that's what her sister was saying too. And then she got to mingle and dance with someone. That's it for Song of the Week. Moving on to my favorite album of the week, maybe even the month. Vroom Vroom by Charli XCX is the best EP I have heard in such a long time, besides The Fame Monster by Lady Gaga. The title tracks, we start off with the title track, Vroom Vroom, and it's such an amazing song. It has all of these like car references. It has like the vroom noise. It has like the screech noise, like when the car stops. Like, it's so amazing. Give it a listen, please. And the next song is Paradise featuring Hannah Diamond, I think. And that song's okay. I mean, like, it's a love song, but then the harmonies are amazing too. And there's like the beat drops. Oh my gosh. It's sick. Like her Charli XCX and her beat drops are sick. And then you got a song called Secret. Shh. So that song is like, it uses like car references too. Like, it has like that screech noise or something. It's so like, I don't know, it's industrial, maybe that's the sound. It sounds metallic. I don't even know how to like explain, but the song is so amazing. Like, it's such a like I don't know. You could twerk to it if that's what you're probably, I don't know how else to describe it. It's like pop meets industrial meets like trap. It's so like the whole album or the whole EP is so interesting. Oh, I forgot one song, Trophy. Oh, that one's great. It's great if it's like such a, not fist pumping, but it's such a motivational song. Like the beat goes so hard. It's a trap song. It's so, oh my, okay. Well, you guys can't see me, but my hands are everywhere. Like, I'm so like into this EP. It's so great. Give it a listen. Vroom Vroom, available on Spotify and iTunes. Like, I'm not sponsored by Charli, but I'm willing to promote her music and her albums in the future. Much love, Charli XCX. Much love. We'd love to have you on the podcast. If you could come to Guam and, just give me a ring, maybe. Speaking of the next podcast, I actually might be having a guest co-host, and I'll try to do this podcast maybe every week. And we'll see where that goes with, guest co-hosts. Sometimes I might be doing it by myself, which is boring. Like, I know some of you guys are actually bored of listening to me, but I promise I'll have a guest co-host next. I don't know who, maybe one of my close friends, and we'll see what happens. So the last portion of the show, I would like to leave you guys with a quote that I hold dear to my heart this week. And that quote is, "You are worth more than you know." And honestly, I remember hearing this somewhere, and it just like stuck with me this week. I heard it, I think it was in a movie, or like in something I read online on Twitter maybe. And basically my interpretation of that is, you don't know your full capabilities. And if you stay the same way that you are now, if you do the same routines, amp it up a bit and you'll see where that takes you. That'll take you to a better mindset. Like, keep striving. Don't stick to what's safe. Take some risk in life. Take those risks and make them fulfill whatever you want to do in life. You are worth more than you know. Well, it's time to end the podcast. I'd just like to thank you guys for listening to me. It's like, I can't believe this is still happening. And see you next week to John's Week. Well, that was a bad ending. Well, just kidding. Restart. See you guys next week. Well, actually, I can't see you anyway. It is you can't see me too. Well, I hope you guys tune in next week. I'll have a guest co-host and we'll have more stuff to talk about. Thank you guys for listening to the first episode of John's Week, a podcast made by me, John. And yep, bye guys.